Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of V.I.Ps in Action, brought to you by R.O.S.E Breastfeeding in collaboration with JMM Health Solutions. I am your host, Dr. Joanne Michelle Martin of JMM Health Solutions, and today I am interviewing two amazing individuals, Rosalind Hopkins and Jessica Simmons. Rosalind is the Director of Prevention Services of the Early Childhood Development Home Visiting Program at the V.I.P Center. She's worked as an educator in the public, adult, and nonprofit sectors for the past 28 years and has served in the field of home visiting for the last 14 of those years. Her leadership role at the V.I.P Center includes the responsibility of training and overseeing the parents as teachers and Norfolk Healthy Families home visiting programs. The Early Childhood Home Visiting Program supports parents to promote healthy birth outcomes, identify early development delays in children, provide early intervention resources, and promote school readiness. Jessica is a native of Norfolk. She has served as a licensed nurse for 11 years before starting up at the V.I.P Center. She is in school currently studying psychology with a minor in leadership and has a passion for serving people who are dealing with issues regarding trauma. And just helping people in general to achieve their goals. She has served as a family support specialist for 2 years before transitioning into the resource specialist with healthy families. So without further ado, I'm just going to let you, these ladies have an amazing bio, amazing background, and it's way more in depth than that. So that little blurb I gave you doesn't even begin to scratch the tip of the iceberg. So without further ado, I will let these beautiful ladies go ahead and introduce themselves, tell you a little bit more about the work that they're doing, where they're located, and how they're able to serve families in the perinatal and postnatal spaces, and help to continue to be a blessing to communities. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Great. Good.
Good. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, your work, the work that you guys are doing at the V.I.P Center.
Well, I'm Rosalind, and of course, I'm the director of the home visiting services at the V.I.P Center. So the V.I.P Center, of course, is a nonprofit organization, and we are a small part of that. And so we provide early childhood home visiting services, which means we actually go into the homes with families to help them to develop those skills, those parenting skills to appropriately engage with their children and work with their children to get them ready for school. Our presence in the home helps to lower the risk factors of child abuse, health delays, health problems and developmental delays, both in the parent and the child, because, mom can have some maternal things going on early on, may not be necessarily aware of those, but with our presence and our guidance and coaching, she can seek the appropriate treatment that will help her have a healthy birthing outcome. Oftentimes with, some service programs, parents have the main barrier of getting to a facility. So we take that barrier out and we actually go to them. Now during this pandemic in this COVID space, we're still able to provide that service virtually. So we're still in the homes, but the families are able to connect with us via video conference or, in some cases, just through the telephone. So to be able to ask those, pertinent questions, as a parent, sometimes you're not sure if you're doing it right. So now you have someone that is working along with you, strengthening you, identifying your efforts is, giving you that pat on the back, say, yes, you're moving in the right directions and answering any of those questions that you may have to make sure that, your child is developing the way that, every healthy child, should. So giving them that kind of experience. With our home visiting programs, there are 4 main things that we focus on. One, those personal visits. And so they're customized around the parent's schedule. And so, we can see parents on the weekend. Now we're able to see some parents, a little later in the evening and being folded into, some of their evening routines. We also want to make sure that we're doing those screenings for mom and for the child to be able to, for mom, being able to identify some what we would say emotional health issues, to make sure, they're feeling good about their parenting skills or even about their pregnancy, and answering those questions. And then we're doing the developmental screenings with the young children, being able to identify, if they're developing appropriately at those different milestone ages within their life. And then being able to connect families to resources within the community to address those issues and concerns. So a lot of times parents may understand or recognize, something may be wrong, but they don't know where to go to get help. And so we're able to, point them in the right direction. And then finally, every parent needs a village, or they need that support to help them in their parenting journey. And so we also help to um, connect families to those outside supports, or what we call group connections, to build that strong bond, or to build that village around them, so that they will feel good about um, their lives and productivity.
That is amazing, because nobody ever gave parents a handbook when babies were coming, right?
Exactly, exactly.
That is awesome. Well, Jessica, tell us a little bit about your role as a resource specialist, and how you then come in to help families.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. My name is Jessica Simmons, and so currently I am the family resource specialist for healthy families. Before I was the resource specialist, I was the family support specialist. So I was able to hold babies, to even before COVID, go to prenatal appointments with moms, and like Ms. Rosalind said, be that support. So now I am in a position where I meet moms before they enter into the program. So I'm able to assess them, to see their needs, and to see if they are a match for our program, and then to connect them with the resources. And I like that, being able to be a connector,
Yeah.
and placing them, or helping them to navigate, to whatever services that they need. And so a lot of people, they say, COVID is terrible. It is terrible. But one of the things that I learned since COVID has hit is that there are a lot of resources out here for families that a lot of people, even in the field, don't know about. And so my job is to find those resources, tell the community about the resources, educate the team about the resources, but more importantly, get the families connected. And so that's what I do. And on top of that, I'm also able to be very creative in this position, into creating, like Ms. Ross said, that support system, that village, and what's the word I want to use? The like Facebook Lives. So that's what we're going to start. I started a podcast where we are just talking about different parenting topics. Right now, it is hard for parents to get away, to have that break or that moment of self-care. So why not, if you're cooking dinner, be able to listen to a podcast on parenting while you're taking a bubble bath, self-care, listen to, a podcast on parenting. So that is what I'm able to do, be creative and to helping parents, because like you said, there is no book on parenting. I've been a mother for 16 years. I'm still learning every day on how to parent and how to be an effective parent. And so now in my role that I'm currently in, I'm able to, think outside the box and to help parents to connect pieces together. And we also are offering Facebook Live interviews, like I said. So we do the podcast that's on Anchor. That's called the Parenting Pod. And so now we will start next month, just having community representatives to come and to give different parenting tips, or tips on education or development and health, to the different parents in the program.
That is phenomenal. That is amazing. And to have that level of, community engagement is huge. But you mentioned something that I want to go back to that is so important. We have resources out there. Why is it that there are so many resources and yet people don't know about them? Why is it that the people who are presenting these resources, is it that they're not doing a great job of relaying it to the masses? Is it that, they're not tapped into the people who could truly benefit? Like, where's the discrepancy coming in, that we have resources but they're not, moms don't know about it, families don't know about it?
Um,
I,
oh, okay.
okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Rice.
Um, I can tap into that a little bit, and then I'll let Jessica. So we are in the Hampton Roads area. So we actually service families in Norfolk and Portsmouth, and we have two home visiting models that we utilize. We use our parents as teachers and our healthy families. We are not a social service program, and many times when parents are in need, that's where they go. They go directly to social services. But we have to be honest, our social service system is overwhelmed and the workers are overworked. So you have a constant turnover of staff. And so when you have great programs like your home visiting programs, that information gets lost with the new person. So they don't necessarily know. And so families that are connected, are able to pass that information along to their friends, but new families may miss out on that information because that pipeline has been stopped. And so we have that constant stop and start, stop and start. And when we have a situation like we're in now in a pandemic, you're not able to get to the right people sometimes to kind of reactivate that start of information, that information chain, so that families know, what is available and what's out there. And so we're trying to make sure that we, venture into every avenue as possible so that we have those different flow information chains that flow so families know we're still here.
Yeah. Miss Jessica, what have you found in terms of, you're the resource specialist, so what have you found is the break in the communication chain, so to speak?
One of the things that I believe is the break in the communication chain is that there just isn't enough of publicity for our program. So, when we turn the news on, we're always looking at something bad happening, but why not promote, things that are out here to help our families? And so I am able to connect, like I said, now with different resources, and social media has been a godsend for that, because we're able to share different flyers and things and to put the word out. But I feel like that, the media could do, our local news stations and things could do a lot better into promoting, these resources. One of the main things I'll say too is mental health has been a big part, like the services for mental health. And so I know that there is definitely a stigma around that, not with the resource, but with the recipients of the resource, so they may feel as though they don't need the help. But one of the things that I've seen, even as the family support specialist and the resource specialist, is there are many people who are dealing with mental health issues and they don't know where to turn, what to do. And so there we have a lot of programs out here, especially in Hampton Roads, but no one knows about them. So like I said, highlighting those things in the media would definitely help.
Yeah. And when you talk about maternal mental health, that in itself is another stigma, because most people just assume, oh, that's par for the course, oh, you're just overwhelmed, right?
Mhm.
And everybody keeps dismissing it. I mean, they already dismiss everything else mental health related,
Right.
but it's as if becoming a new mom, you're supposed to be, overwhelmed and frazzled and can't function, and that's a norm, and it shouldn't be that way. And add to that they're not a lot of, I mean, there are specialists out there, there are maternal mental health specialists, but they're not as, you see marriage and family therapists, and those are very abundant, and you'll see social workers, those are very abundant. But those people that specialize in just the maternal mental health are a little bit harder to come by. So do you guys partner with different medical professionals and groups to kind of be able to have them as resources for your families?
Absolutely. So being part of the Up Center, we're able to provide that those wraparound counseling services. But one of the wonderful things that I'm able to announce today, and we are super excited about it, I've been in this field now for 14 years, and we have not had someone to specialize in that particular area of mental health and self-care. But today, we can honestly say we have a certified maternal mental health counselor that has been able to team up with our families. And so we're able to make that referral, and our moms have someone to come into their home Not them having to pack up all the kids, find a daycare provider, or have the kids sit in, you know, the lobby, which, you know, is never a good thing while they are receiving services, but someone to actually connect with them on an intimate basis during their their time, and they don't have to leave their house. So we actually have our own certified mental health, maternal mental health counselor that we are excited about. She started in November. And so she is certified and trained to provide that guidance in, again, maternal mental health and anxiety disorders, anxiety mood disorders.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That is absolutely phenomenal. And you know, I've worked with I worked in pediatrics. I love kids. Kids are my happy place. You know, I love pelvic health, all things pelvic health. But there's even now when my moms come in and I'll tell them, "Oh, bring the baby." I've grown so close with my clients. I think the best part of my day is them being able to share their joy, their gift with me. And so I enjoy loving and snuggling on the babies. I'm like, look, you could have done nothing more for me than do that. But when I started my practice, I did home visits. And when I worked in pediatrics, I worked for the state and I did early intervention programs. And it's amazing that people don't recognize the value of meeting families where they're at. You know, being able to go into a home, it's not just about the convenience alone, but you get to see so much that you cannot reproduce or replicate in an office, in a clinic. You just can't. You get to walk into a home and see, I mean, you see it all. Right. And now you know what decisions you can make, you need to make, what referrals, what resources that you need to make a lot better because you see them, you meet them where they're at. And I think that the fact that you guys offer that is amazing, even with the virtual, because you can just say, hey, let's walk around your house. You know, I mean, and I don't think people really think of that. They're like, well, let's get you in a room and no, like if we want to survey the landscape, we can still do that virtually. And I mean, but it's just such an amazing service that you guys provide, you know, that I really want to commend you for that and say, you know, when COVID clears, like keep at it. So what have you found, you know, working with these families? You're in the home. We recognize that there may be a kind of a discrepancy with regards to the resources available, but what other identifiable challenges have you found with working within your community?
A very simple one. As we've been working with our families, we've noticed that virtually, sometimes mom is holding the phone and holding the baby, and you can't see everything all at once. And we've talked to other home visiting programs, and that has been a concern or an issue. And so just something as simple as being able to provide mom with a phone stand so that she can operate hands-free, and she's, you know, she can show you, you know, the exciting new things that the baby is able to do. That right there, you know, priceless. But we forget about some of the simplest of things. Jessica is excited about starting another project that will assist families. So I'll let her tell you about that one.
So when I was in the family support specialist position, I always used to see when I would have home visits that moms would not have clean bottles, or there would be limited bottles for the baby. And so one of the projects that I'm going to start working on is a bottle campaign, a new bottle campaign where we are able to provide families with a great amount of bottles, a great supply of bottles, and teaching them how to clean bottles correctly. And, you know, that's all a part of the parenting part, but also health and safety for the families as well. But that's one of the things, like Ms. Ross said, that you really don't think about. You know, for some families, having 2 bottles is enough, you know, because that is a way for them to feed their baby. But in all honesty, you know, that is not enough. And then, you know, you look at things like the nipples not being cleaned properly, and the different, germs and things that can be passed on to the baby. So providing the education and the actual materials for the families is something that I have noticed that has been one of the things, like I said, that we kind of take for granted, also needs to be educated throughout the community.
It's just the little things.
It's the little
Yes.
things.
That's the
It's the
thing
little
that I'm
things.
hearing, and it's amazing because I wonder when we hear things like that. When our parents and our grandparents, when they didn't have all the stuff we have now, they functioned. So
Yes.
I wonder where the change came about. And you said, for example, having two bottles. I mean, I only had six, but but I breastfed my kids, and so we I didn't think that we needed much more than that. That was sufficient. But what if we have a mom with multiples? What if we
Right.
what if we have, some Irish twins? So mom's got a toddler and then a newborn, right? And then we
Mhm.
kind of have to think about the different situations that may be coming up as to, what their specific needs are and what their specific challenges might be. So you guys are recipients of this Rose VIP grant, which was given to those providing perinatal support, perinatal services throughout the country. And how has that been able to help you guys service the people, that you work with, and provide more resources and so on?
So, through the Rose Grant, we're able to really focus on the promotion of our services. We've expanded our services to include several other supporting components. So, we have a certified doula that is on board, and she's delivered thus far, I think, 4 babies virtually, during this space and time. And
Mhm.
so, she's actually able to be in the delivery room during that birthing experience. Before COVID, she was able to actually be in the delivery room physically. But parents and families are able to know and understand that can still go on. She includes the fathers in the birthing experience as well, so they know that they're part of all of that. She's not replacing them, which is one of those um, myths that has been floating around the African American community. So now dads know what a doula is, and they're just as excited. And
Mhm.
so also having a better understanding of what some of the needs are for our families. The Rose Grant has been able to help provide us the support and the resources to get some of those things done. For example, you talked about breastfeeding. We have a team within our team now that is going to be focusing on breastfeeding consultations, with our African American mom. So if she is just overworked and can't get all those bottles uh, clean, for the babies, maybe breastfeeding is an option that she never really considered, or someone has always talked her out of because they're saying, you're too busy, you got too many kids, or, whatever the case may be. And so we've been able to have that. And then getting some of the ideas like the starting up of the podcast, other ways to be able to reach our families. We've gotten that kind of guidance and support through the Rose Grant uh, partnership and guidance.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how has your community responded, especially with the increase in education? Because I know a lot of people don't necessarily take to Zoom, right? So, we were going in person, then we had to pivot. And it's like, you want me to do what? How you gonna do these services? What am I supposed to? You don't see me on video? Like, what is happening? And people are like, there are a lot of people I know that were resistant to it. So how has your community found the transition to the virtual, and how have they been responding to a lot of these educational programs, a lot of the more community oriented programs, the podcasts, the Facebooks and so on, Facebook lives and so on, that you guys have been given to them?
So I'll talk about that. The podcast actually is doing very well. When I check, the weekly downloads, it's doing very well. And so we actually share that with our agency also, and so they are able to share it with people outside of the program. So it's actually, like I said, a lot of people think social media is always bad. I tend to think otherwise right now, because it's actually getting the message out. And it's reaching people that we typically would not reach, And so before, like I said, when I transitioned, a lot of my families were always, when I would go for a visit, glued to their phone. And so, and when the pandemic happened and we had to go virtual, one of the things I said to them was, well, you're always on your phone anyway, so now you're able to attend these visits on your phone. And so it was not a struggle, with getting them to interact. I even started, a women's support group, because right before the pandemic hit, we did a training called Mothers and Babies. And so I actually had some moms, and the group actually grew weekly, where we would come together on Zoom and we would just talk about mental health and, what was our frustration. And so self-care was like our main thing, our driving focus. And so from that, we were able to have support groups. Moms were able to connect with each other, and to even talk online with each other. And so, that it helped that way. And now doing these virtual assessments is even good too, because I'm still able to see, a mom's reaction to a question, or to see their expression to something. And then I'm able to actually help them through, if it was something that bothered them. And I'm able to, versus being on the phone, because on the phone you can take tone or something totally out of context. But now I'm able to, I feel like it's more personal. It's still personal, it's still intimate. And so social media has helped with that. And like I said, it is actually, to me, been nurturing a little bit with the families.
That's awesome. That's
I
absolutely.
still think, we have some families that they miss that personal face-to-face contact, and that's, to be expected. But to know that they still have someone there, is, so important, that they can see, and the kids can see, and you still have that relationship, and it's not just a mere phone call, but being able to connect with them visually, in some way. Again, it's the importance of having that village, having that support system. Um, we're just, really excited and thankful that we're able to stay in this space. So
that's awesome. Did you find that there were a lot of people that didn't have the infrastructure to support the virtual sessions?
I think it was more so they didn't know how to connect to the platforms to be able, for them to be able to continue in those services. So the beginning of the pandemic was a learning curve for all of us. We had to be patient with our parents, to teach them how to use the Zoom, or they were teaching us in some cases, some of the other platforms like Duo, to make it work for them. And then choosing the platform, again, that was best suited for them and their spaces of work, being able to do it on their phone. And then, like I said, learning, it's not always easy to be kind of hands-free. Just a quick story. I remember one of the home visitors was telling me, when we were able to be outside, she was working with the mom and helping the baby with his gross motor skills, and tossing him a ball. And mom always talked about how he can't catch the ball. And they were outside and they were playing, and they caught the ball, and she had her phone in her hand, and she was so excited that he caught the ball, she dropped the phone. And the parent educator was saying, well, I want to see too, so learning how to kind of maneuver in that space so that we can still see, all the activities that are going on, is, where we are now. But like I say, it's been a learning curve to, again, find the platform to work, and to be able to still connect with our families, in a more personal space. And then, understanding this is how, many families are operating. Social media is not new to them. It just took us a while as official programs to kind of get on board and learn how to make it work for everybody involved. And so that's where we are now. And so we're learning how to tweak some of that that delivery.
That's awesome. So what do you guys have plans for future, programs and future initiatives? What do you guys have in store?
So like I said, right now we hopefully will launch the bottle campaign either next month or the beginning of March. And then we will start our Facebook Live interviews. And so our very first one is actually going to be on Tuesday the 2nd. And we will have a kindergarten teacher who is going to come and help our families prepare for kindergarten. We don't know how that's going to look right now, if it's going to be in the virtual setting or in person. And so she's going to touch on both to kind of help parents to start preparing their little one now so that it's not a shock to the whole family, when that time rolls around. And then we have another one scheduled where we have a media specialist who's going to come and help moms and dads to get age appropriate literature for their little ones to help with their language development. And then we have some community spotlights where we'll have some community leaders and programs. WIC, for example, they will come and talk about how to get in contact with services. And because we're actually seeing a disconnect there in our community where a lot of people are not utilizing their WIC. And so we're actually going to have him to come and to talk and to educate everybody on how to stay connected. And then like Ms. Ross said, in April, we will actually have a team of certified lactation consultants who we will add to the team to help moms and dads with breastfeeding education. And then we always have our parent support groups. That's an ongoing thing also. And so we've been doing it in a virtual space, and it has actually been fun, seeing the little ones dance and, do different things on the camera. And so to me, that's my baby fix, because before, like I said, we were able to go in and hug the little ones, but seeing them interact with their parents on Zoom. So we still have those sessions coming up also. Did I miss anything, Ms. Ross?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Y'all gonna be busy.
Busy.
Oh, and I forgot one thing. We also, on our Facebook page, we have Read With Me sessions where we will have actual members of the community and our leadership team reading stories to our families and to our little ones also. Encourage that language development and that bonding and attachment.
That is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Why does everybody in Virginia not know about y'all?
What did I say? The media.
Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. Oh no, we need to shout this to the rooftops. Like this is amazing work, guys. This is truly amazing. And this is the stuff that people need to know.
Mm-hmm.
This is the stuff. This is how we, like you said, we create a village, we nurture people, we improve, we make things better for the next generation. This is it. This is really, really amazing work. Oh my gosh, you give me chills. Oh man. So how can people reach you guys? Like I mean, I want in. I'm about to share this. Like people need to know. So how do people reach you?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Jessica.
Okay, so one way is that you can connect with us on our Facebook page, and it is Braveheart. the home visiting. Wait. The Up Center's home visiting page. And so you can connect with us there, and we will always share what we have going on and community resources. We make it a point to share whatever resources are out there for the community. And then you can also, if you would like a referral or to put in a referral for services, you can go to our website. Ms. Ross, it is, I'm having
www.theupcenter.org. And on that page, if you go in under parenting education, there's our phone number. There are the links to the Facebook page for our programs. Also, there's a link to the podcast. So again, that's that one-stop shop, or that one-stop place that you can go to get all of your questions answered. You can put in a request.
www.theupcenter.com.
.org.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And you can put in, like I said, referrals for services. There is a form right there that you can go to and put in to refer someone for services.
Yeah. All right. So everything is right there. This is getting shared today. Okay. So y'all know, getting shared today. But that is amazing. Like I just think that, I mean, and early intervention is near and dear to my heart. I love the babies. I can't get them out of my system. I just love the babies. And being able to, oftentimes we think maternal services, we think perinatal services. We take care of mom and baby, and then mom has baby, and we may do breastfeeding or we may not. We kind of dwindle on the maternal services, and then there's some falling through the cracks of the baby, right? But the fact that you guys have done such a phenomenal job of combining that, of saying we want to care for mom and baby, we want to create the best birth outcomes, but then we want to continue support both mom and baby so that they can both thrive and they can both do well. That is perfect. I think that is the secret for the sauce right there.
And I want to put in, it's not just mom, it's dad too. You know, we have single dads that, you know, they come up and they're parenting the baby, and it's like, okay, well, what do I do? So, you know, I'm happy to say we have 2 dads, you know, in our program, and we understand we can't do this by ourselves. We're not the only home visiting program in Hampton Roads. There are others. So when we can't service you, we make sure that we, you know, pass your information along to a home visiting program that's comparable to ours. So, you know, if I can't come to the city that you are requesting services, I may know of a program within your city. And so I'll pass that information along. So again, anytime a family or a parent is interested in more information, they just want to talk, or they want to see, you know, what services are available for them, again, www.theupcenter.org, and, you know, we'll get you started.
I love it.
I also want to share one more thing. One of the things I love about both programs is we celebrate the victories of baby and of mom and dad. You know, so we are a strong goals oriented program, and you know, I've been able to see moms. We had one mom in particular, when she enrolled into the program, she did not have her high school diploma, but now she's been in the program for 2 years, and she now has her high school diploma, and she is in her second year of college. You know, so these are things that we celebrate. And you know, she has children. You know, we saw her through the birth of her baby, and those are the things, you know, that is so special about programs like this. You know, you are able to not hold a parent's hand, but you are that support system, and you're able to celebrate the little victories that they accomplish along.
Yes, I love
it. And
it.
it's free.
Yes, free.
Most of the components, you know, in the services are free. So we actually service families with children from birth or conception until they actually enter kindergarten. So even after the 30 days, you know, of kindergarten, that's usually when we let them go. Once, you know, mom and baby have found that balance, they can, you know, exit from service programs. They don't have to stay that long, but that is the option.
That's awesome. Well, ladies, I am so amazed at this. I thank you so much for giving me your time and for sharing all of this goodness, you know, with the world. I think the world needs to know. I think the people in the state of Virginia, first of all, they need to know that y'all exist. And I think, you know, and especially now that we're virtual, I mean, you guys have access to so many more people. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. So I wish you the absolute success. This is a phenomenal program. You know, I wish it could be replicated in other places. So maybe that should be on your bucket list. Just start working with other people to replicate what you've got going on. Cause it's beautiful. It's working, you know, the outcomes are great. And I just think that is absolutely phenomenal. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys, and I appreciate you sincerely for all that you are doing in your community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, guys, this wraps up another episode of VIPs in Action. If you need more information with regards to the U.P. Center's home visiting program, visit www.theupcenter.org. You can find all the information that you need there, including filling out a form to request services for yourself. So again, thank you, Ms. Rosalind. Thank you, Ms. Jessica. And guys, see you again next time for another episode of VIPs in Action. Take care.
Bye.